No doubt.
No doubt. Yes, man. So, man, in the world of sports right now, this is free agency world. A lot of moves, a lot of moves, a lot of money being made.
Wow.
205 million.
Wow. Wow. $200 million contracts for Steph Curry. Give my man a
Steph Curry.
hand.
Not
No,
Steph.
no, 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 no. Who? What?
That was Trey Young.
Trade? No, no, no. 200 million max contracts.
Oh
That
yeah,
is
yeah, that's
Steph
right. Yes.
Curry. Yes, yes,
Yes.
but yes, let's give it up to the youngster Trey, who you were referring to. Amazing, great feat in itself. I mean, rookie max. That's excellent, and just so befitting because the industry is really showing that it's growing, evolving. The salaries of basketball players are still probably on average the highest per player in the world. So
Mm-hmm.
congratulations to the PA for making sure the welfare of their athletes, professionals are looked out, being one of the top unions in the world.
Oh, without a doubt. So what's going on in the world of sports, brother?
Well, let's give a shout out to Simone Biles for getting back on the podium today, and at least last night we got the news today that she finished in a bronze.
Yes.
And for her to come back from all the things that have been happening and to her, we're happy to see that because it's really tough when you think about the optics on this event. This is a world stage. And for her to be able to do her very best, obviously, she wants to have done that. But also, we know life happens. And sometimes what you predict or project to happen, working years and years for it, sometimes just not come together. But well, I'm happy to see that she was able to get back out there and do her very best and achieve a medal. So kudos to her. Certainly, I'm looking forward to her continuing perhaps to do great work and great things, not only in sports, but in the world of business and life. So best wishes to her as she continues to move forward. I like what I'm seeing in the Olympics in general. I don't know if you saw, but commentators, I just got to do a side note in the world of sports. If you have not seen Kevin Hart and Snoop Dogg do a color commentating for the Olympics, you got to stop and see that. I I think it's quite funny and
Entertaining,
entertaining.
right? It's
Yeah.
and
So what do you
I
think,
haven't
man?
seen it yet. I saw some of the excerpts, and that's the biggest trend that's happening is the Snoop and Kevin Hart thing. You
Well,
know what though? Snoop has been doing his thing in terms of color commentating. During that verse, I mean, during that UFC battle. I mean, not
mm-hmm.
the UFC, the boxing. He
Yep.
was within one of the main attractions when it came down to watching that event.
Absolutely. You think about, the work that I do and you think about transition, he is really doing an amazing job when you think about success after success after success. He created a new line of drinks and spirits we've seen not only in Costco with the, what is it, 19 crimes is what it's called.
Yes,
And
19 crimes. Yes.
and then with our man Keenan, who was on a couple of weeks ago with Indigo, which is strawberry infused vodka. And now we're seeing commentating after commentating. We know he can rap. We know he can host TV shows. We know
Yeah,
he
with
can
TV
do
shows with Martha
reality show,
Stewart.
reality show after reality show after cooking show, etc. I'm quite impressed. Snoop Dogg treats transition like a sport. He's good at everything. So
Yes.
congratulations to him. But man, what's going on in the world of entertainment? Break us off here before we get
Oh
started
man,
today.
in the world of entertainment, that girl her is swooping up the charts. Collecting. I mean, selling platinum records, gold records. Um, you have you know um, just some of the hip hop artists celebrating some of their anniversaries. The 26th anniversary of the Cuban Links. Mob Deep is coming up.
Hmm.
Um, all I'm seeing is just a lot of activity in terms of just folks just dropping singles. Bruno Mars and Anderson .Paak just dropped a new single called Skate.
Okay.
Hot record. They got the
There's a
video out. Um, you know, it, you got to keep your head on the swivel, man. It's just music coming out left and right,
Wow.
which is great because what I'm seeing now within the music industry is people are not afraid to go in the lab and put records out. Now the biggest issue and challenge is how are they getting paid
Yeah.
off of those or for the streaming. They're not getting paid as much. So the most important thing is to understand the business of music and ensuring that they find other ways to create income. I mean, perfect example, we just talked about Snoop and how he is really positioning himself to, do so many other different ventures to really keep his brand and his brand equity alive.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Brandy and a couple of folks are going to have the reality TV show on ABC coming up soon.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you got 50 Cents, which I think this is the major power move. What I love, 50 Cents is killing the game in terms of TV. He switched from ABC because he got dropped, but now he's on IMDb TV,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because they now provide distribution now, and his Power series is doing excellent, which he is in control of his own soundtrack because he's playing his music, and of course he owns the publishing, and that's the name of the game. When you understand the business of entertainment, you can start navigating on all different media so that you're not just limited to just one component of entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
D Nice sold out of Brooklyn as well as the Hollywood Bowl for his concert, and Atlanta's going to be sold out soon.
Mm-hmm.
I think the biggest concern now that we need to be, you know, thinking about, and I'm not trying to be the party pooper here, is this thing called COVID.
Yeah. No, I know about it. So go ahead.
Yeah, I mean this thing called COVID. I mean, people are really running to go outside, but the challenge that I find that we really need to also mask up because you may be a carrier of it and someone else gets it. So let's be very mindful of what's going on and giving people a little bit of space. It's good to be back together again, because as human beings we need the opportunity to touch and see and
Mm-hmm.
have those nonverbals. But at the same time, man, we just gotta be careful. Let me, in the meantime, can you also touch a little bit about you know what's going on in the back end of sports from your perspective, Pro CEO, while I reach out to our guests?
Sure. So what I'm seeing as some real creative movement in sports is how all the platforms are creating, additional ways to be seen across all platforms. So, for instance, the NBA Finals was not only on ABC, it was on ESPN, which is all both owned by Disney, but we also saw plays on YouTube. We also saw other formats in which they were playing on. It is, quite interesting to see how many ways you can see the same game on so many different platforms. We're seeing a lot of that because people want to consume the games wherever they are, TV, at home, on their favorite platform. So you're going to see it across not only YouTube or ABC or ESPN. You're going to see it on Hulu. You're going to see it on Sling. You're going to see it on other platforms. So continue to watch how the industry consumes sports. I see most recently, like Joel was saying, even amongst some of the collegiate institutions, not just pro, they've gotten a game and they continue to evolve the game. We just saw recently that two Big 12 schools are putting in their withdrawal from their traditional conference and they're moving over to the SEC conference. This is certainly, again, using their rights to be able to move into another conference and get even a larger possible pie for them in the media space. So this is something that Now the other conferences have to kind of look at and say, okay, how do we potentially create a powerful 16 team conference? I even saw a model for the ACC to potentially do a huge conference themselves, which included teams from the Big Ten and the ACC and the what other conference? What was the conference Texas Tech is in? I can't remember.
Well,
Excuse me.
Texas Tech was in the Big 12, right?
Okay, so that part of that Big 12 is now would be considered to be in another conference. So it's interesting to see all this movement because of the power of content and how and what you can do with it. I go back to saying that we used to just see a big game on ABC or NBC or CBS. No longer, because the content play can be spread out so many ways, and people are desiring it to see it in many different ways. So back to, if you own your rights, own your content, you can, pretty much see an opportunity for you even as an individual. That's why I think it was also a good nod, Joel, that you spoke on, people being able to own their singles and putting those out, and then diversifying, like Snoop Dogg being able to be on multiple platforms with his talent. So I'm seeing that. I'm watching it even in my own business and myself, looking at where content can be a big part of how we're going to innovate our future in the space that I do work in terms of sports and entertainment. So yes, it is happening everywhere, and the potential for any and everybody to own part of what they do professionally and put it out there to be consumed, whether you license it out or you subscribe it out or you create it and you put it in the format of a master class, whatever it is. If you're not a singer, you still can have a master class and have people buy your master class as though they would buy a single from a download, which probably would be as lucrative if you have a great class, considering the price point for master classes per fee is much higher than a single download. So to me, those are things that I think some of us, if we're in the creative space and we were looking for new ways to generate, especially in this age of COVID, where you want to take advantage of where you are, you may not be as readily to go out. So how do you create content where you are? So I'm excited about the potential, even watching others do it, and even myself, how we get into the space and we carve out a lane for ourselves. It's the future is extremely bright in that space.
I mean, you are absolutely right. It's extremely bright, and even the power moves of even announcers on TV. The whole fiasco with ESPN and Rachel Nichols and Maria Taylor, and she just mosey on down to NBC and got her fat check.
What was it? What were the deal points? She did leave NBC, ESPN.
She left ESPN as soon as she was done with the finals, because her contract was not renewed. She didn't continue on with any type of extension, and from there she already had a deal with NBC to do the Olympics, and then now she's going to handle Super Bowl. I mean, not Super Bowl, but the NFL and a couple of other programs. So she's moved on to big time.
Wow.
Getting that NFL money.
Yeah, she definitely, her and her agent definitely got busy and came up with a new exit strategy and a new entrance strategy. To say the least.
Absolutely. And so it's so paramount, to take advantage of what's happening within the media, so that you're never limited in any type of power move that you can make. So with that being said, we got to pay some bills. We'll be back in 2 minutes.
Okay.
Once again, this is Power Moves on In Touch Radio, reality radio where everyone is a star. Once again, Power Moves, where celebrities, athletes, key influential executives share how they make money, how they attract power, and how they earn respect. See you after the break.
See you. We'll be right back.
September the 5th. Hosted by the Dr. K.C. Patel High School, located at 10721 Rollison Ranch Road, right here in Tampa, from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. There will be a $500 cash prize to the best amateur griller. If you feel that you've got the skills, then you need to bring your grill. It doesn't matter how big or how small. You can drive it up, push it up, pull it up, or even let grandma and grandpa help you set it up. Just bring the entire family out and enjoy some of the finest amateur grill meats. Sample the sauce and find out who has the best sauce. Bring your meat and put it on a plate, and let's see if you have what it takes. For vendors information, text 813-965-4456.
We're playing your favorite old school. Today's R&B. With a smooth touch of jazz. You're listening to In Touch Radio.
Yes, y'all. We are back.
Yes.
So, I think we're experiencing some technical difficulties because my guest is on the West Coast, and I think they just flew in, so that they might be having some technical difficulties. So in the meantime, we just gonna roll. We're gonna roll with it. So what about this free agency stuff, man? Carmelo and Russ and on the Lakers now. How you feel about that?
Man, the Lake Show, I was just talking about this earlier. It's interesting. It's almost like a throw. It's got a vibe. You've heard it first. I feel like it's a little bit close to The Last Dance with a couple years on it. You know what I mean by that? Is that we got LeBron, we got AD, we got Russ, we got Dwight Howard, we got Trevor Ariza, we got like giants. First of all, that's a big team. Then like just height wise, and then overall the talent on it is super experienced. So I think Lakers, from an experience standpoint, you can't dispute they could possibly put together amazing, front and back court that could, take them everywhere they wanted to go, and really not to minus the play of any other of the 2019s, but just it's interesting combination. I wonder what went into putting that team together that way, because they did get rid of a couple of young pieces. I actually like Kuzma. I thought he, could do a good job, wherever he is. So, he'll get some experience. They lost a couple of other pieces, but hey, it's gonna be exciting. The Lake Show for sure. The front seats are gonna go up extra high in pricing. So we're gonna see some. I think the Hollywood faithful is going to show up because it's going to be more glitz and glamour, more experienced guys. Some of your favorite. It's going to be interesting. Did I miss anybody who's supposed to be on that team? Somebody who's got a little 10 years plus. That's the 10 years plus team, right?
Man, let me tell you something, man. That team right there is basically, that's the old man's league.
I ain't said it, y'all. Y'all ain't hear me say it. I know some of y'all. Hey guys, they ain't come out of my mouth. So I got some grace, so I'm cool. I'm cool with it, man. Nobody's old. They seasoned, bro.
All right, my bad. They are seasoned. This is a seasoned team that, like you said, experience wise, they gonna bring it. My concern is that the only person that can run back and forth, I think, is gonna be Russell Westbrook. One man fast break, because you got to be careful with you got to be careful with Anthony. With sometimes he has foot problems. LeBron, he can run back and forth, but I think the biggest thing is going to be pacing them, for 82 game season. And but the one thing I would say is those are just super athletes as well. I mean, these guys have, longevity. People don't realize, but Carmelo Anthony never really gets hurt.
Yeah, you will. I agree.
He's probably
Not for a long time.
out of that class that came out,
Him,
Carmelo,
the one was LeBron, D
D
Wade.
Wade.
Okay.
He didn't he You rarely hear, oh, you know what, he's on a
Melo's
disabled
out.
list.
No,
Yeah.
you don't hear Melo out.
And
Not
because
really.
what
That's
I
a good
like
point.
about him is that, I'm biased because he's from Brooklyn. He went to Syracuse, but um, he boxes as
Mhm.
part of his training regimen. So he keeps his body under certain stress points to really, be able to kind of handle the rigor of the NBA. But that Lakers team, that IQ over there, that's almost like an Olympic team.
Yeah, I mean,
basically.
most of those guys have been on USA basketball, and I do think that they're going to bring a level of, I think, experience to know how to play, the rotation pretty well. I hope that all the guys get the minutes. I can think of them actually using it wisely and spreading amongst a lot of these guys so they can have that 82 season regular and then that last season. So if I remember my days in the NBA, when you go past regular season, you end up playing about 25 more games to make it to the finals. So you
Right.
play almost around 107 games. So somewhere in that number, you're close to like, 25, 30 games more. So you do have to do the what is the tactic when you sit the players
Load management.
load management. Yeah. So we'll see, man. They might be doing quite a bit.
They're gonna be doing a lot of load management. They're gonna be doing a lot of load.
But that's the game today, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's some of it. In general, I think it brings me back to when they had Karl Malone, Gary Payton,
Yes.
they had Ori, they had John Sally, and who else? I'm trying to remember. And probably was it? I'm looking at them now. D Fish, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was a seasoned team too.
Right.
You know what I mean? And they got a ring, but
no, they didn't. They didn't
no,
get a ring.
They didn't get a ring. They didn't get a ring. My apologies, but it was supposed to be a super team.
Yes.
So my hope is that this goes well. I don't call it an experiment because Ariza has am I mistaken? He's played in LA before. He's from LA.
He's from LA,
So
and he played in LA. Yep.
And Russ has played in LA. And
I think Ariza has a ring as well.
Yeah. And then you've got Dwight Howard, who played in LA for his third time now. So he knows what to expect.
Right.
And then obviously LeBron and AD bring, a lot of stability. So it's going to be kind of fun. I would say on the other end, we saw some movement with Milwaukee. What's his name? PJ signed and left to go to Miami. So PJ Tucker.
Hello?
Yep. So
hey,
I think
Mark,
you're going to see some movement around other players and other teams. So I think we can honestly say that we've got interesting with all the other movement that's still yet to come with teams. You're going to see a newer, I would say, energized NBA even. We're seeing some of the big names stay, but we're also seeing some movement with some other guys. So to me, I think it could potentially be exciting offseason, knowing that the draft was this past week. And a lot of the young talent certainly yet to prove themselves are going to be looking to prove themselves. And then within that, we'll see Summer League jump right into it. And we're going to see some of the young talent potentially happen, like Cade at Detroit. Shout out to Troy Weaver, the general manager, a good friend back in the day, came up together in the league and has prospered everywhere he's gone, and to get the number one pick and to have I would say, a chance to build a team is a dream. And for NBA coaches, we saw most recently in the news that there were several coaches, and I want to kind of bring that up, that unlike in the past, we haven't seen this many coaches. And I don't know if you caught this, Joel, but it was quite fascinating when I seen this. And, I've seen a lot of stuff here, but this was very interesting. You had congratulations going out to not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 first time. No, first 7, 6 of the 7 become head coaches. So now we see Jamal Mosley, Orlando Magic, African American.
Yes.
We see Willie Green, my man. What's up, Willie? Just so proud of you, man. Your first coaching opportunity now with the Pelicans. Willie, if you haven't been watching, Willie's been quietly growing his career, first with Golden State as a former player, played in Philly. Gritty guy, great shot, ended up crossing over, getting into coaching, won a couple chips with Golden State, and now he is a head coach. So congratulations to Willie. Jason Kidd, amazing, continues to climb. Dallas Maverick head coach. Nate McMillan, Atlanta Hawks, finalizes the deal, longtime coach. Then Wes Unseld Jr. and my man Ime Udoka, understudy of Pop. Yes, Greg Popovich is the first-time coach in Boston. And then Chauncey Billups getting the opportunity to become a first-time coach of a pro team right off the rip. So lots of interesting opportunities to lead in the NBA. We're super excited for these young guys to see them get a chance to do what they do. So these are what we would call power moves by these teams. We're going to see who comes out the top. My odds on favorite, I got to go with home team Orlando. So I'm putting the pressure on Jamal Mosley. You got to come through. Orlando, we got to win something soon. All right. I'm done.
You're done?
I'm done.
Yeah, so you know me, Kevin. I don't care about the home team. I just care about my Knicks and my Brooklyn Nets. And I don't see Orlando doing much. They might do a little something, but I don't know.
Can I put the mute button on you? Hey, DJ Anna, can I put no, all right, I'm gonna let you go this time. Well, but, I will respect you, though. I respect the fact that you are allegiant to your home team because you are from New York. Now, what I don't like is when people jump around the team to team because it's hot. So I want to ask that question to our guest a little bit later. We're going to see who he likes, what team, and what strategies is the best for these in pro sports. Doesn't matter the sport. We can talk about any of them. But this is not just a sports show. Right. This is a power move show.
This is the power move show. Yeah, our guest, man, is a power mover. We're gonna go into the bio after the break because we have about a minute left and stuff. Yeah. But this is take your notepads, get your pens ready
get your popcorn
because we gonna be going in about a minute and change, baby, a minute and change. Right. But once again, this is Power Moves, where celebrities, athletes, key influential executives share how they make money, how they attract power, and how they earn respect. See you after the break on In Touch News Radio, reality radio where everyone is a star.
When it comes to reality radio, everyone is a star.
Shining star for you to see what your life can truly be.
On your smooth soul and R&B station.
On the World Wide Web.
In Touch Radio.
Call Ricky. Ask Ricky. You need medical or a lawyer. I got the man to do the legwork for you. We tried the other ones before, so believe we hunted down 813-248-6300. Everything gon' be okay. Call Ricky, he coming. He taking care of state of Florida. Grab a pen or something. Dial 1-800-361-RICK. That's 1-800-361-7425. Never word from the point forward, just recline. Just ask Ricky, push your boy statewide. Just in case you missed it, I'ma tell you one more time. 1-800-361-RICK. Call Ricky, ask Ricky is a legal medical referral service. The doctors and lawyers in our network are trained in handling auto injury claims and giving you the best medical treatment and recovery. Dial 1-844-361-RICK. That's 1-844-361-7425. Ricky. Ask Ricky.
All right. We are back with Power Moves.
All right.
I want to introduce our distinguished guest as Director of Strategic Projects and Partner. He is part of Beck's leadership team and owners across the U.S. and the Caribbean, in which he provides design, construction, program management services. He's also responsible for the National Healthcare and Life Sciences practices as a division of Beck Construction. Beck is one of the leading and largest commercial contractors and architecture firms in the world. And this gentleman here has been committed to Florida since the early 80s. Under his leadership, his notable projects here in local Tampa, in which he's built the Dolly Museum, USF Health Camels, the multiple projects at the University of Tampa, the Tampa International Airport, one of the best airports. I tell you, I love that airport. You go in and out, it's easy. It's not like JFK. You know, I am loyal to New York, but man, JFK and LaGuardia is the worst. But he's also been, over the past 15 years, he's been responsible for the design and construction of over $1 billion of private and public projects in Florida and over $10 billion nationwide. He holds a Florida Class A general contractor's license, premier license, of course, as well as an engineering degree specializing in aerospace engineering. Watch out, Mr. Tesla. He's also a 1980 graduate of the United States Military Academy at West Point, baby. He served more than 5 years on active duty. He's a master parachutist, a U.S. Army Ranger, G.I. Joe. Upon leaving the military in 1985, he began his commercial construction career in Tampa, Florida. 89, he started a specialty contracting company providing general construction services and commercial floor coverings to hospitals, where he was recognized as the 500 fastest growing private companies in America. From there, he sold his company to Shore Industries, a division of Berkshire Hathaway, Mr. Warren Buffett, owner of that, and remained president up until 1999. And there he transitioned to the Beck Group in 1999. He's been responsible for the firm's new integrated services division, incorporating real estate and design build work, including land and finance acquisition services. 2002, he was a chief human resource officer for the company at Beck. He was recognized in helping them get to the point where they receive awards for top places to work. He came back to Tampa in 2006, led them up until 2015, and now promoted to Beck's Strategic Projects Group. He's on the board of everywhere. He's on the board of directors for United States Military Academy, West Point Society, Florida West Coast past president and current board member of the University of Tampa, board of fellows, board member of University of South Florida, Institute of Applied Engineering, board member of Henry Marine Corporation, lead independent director, Leadership Tampa of 1998, Leadership Tampa 2013, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, whenever he's ready to retire, he could just write his book. So let's welcome to the show my man, Mr. Mark House. What's going on, Mark? How you doing in Seattle visiting family?
Yeah, I'm mute,
Thank you, Joel. Thank you, Kevin. Yep, we both our kids live in. They went as far away as possible from Tampa, Florida. They went to Seattle, but we come out here a couple times a year to visit. Our son, who's just recently got engaged, and he's getting married in December, and then our daughter and her husband, and then they have a 1-year-old, a little girl named Violet. So it's always a great trip, my wife and I, to come out and visit.
Wow. How long is that flight to Seattle these days?
It's 5.5 hours from Tampa, so
Okay.
you get a couple movies in.
Wow, Mark, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you. Very honored. Very honored.
Certainly glad to have you. Just personally, how's health? During this pandemic, we're always checking with folks that we
Thank you.
come in. Things are good. Hopefully,
things are good. The family's good. We're fortunate in that we're in an industry is viewed as one of the essential industries, and so we kind of held our breath in March of 2020 when things started to wind down. And weren't sure really what things were going to happen. But, the government declared construction is such a big piece of the economy that if you held certain standards that you could continue on with your construction projects. And so, we had our folks mask up, social distance, got our projects all essentially secured and tightened up. And we're able to, we do some things like split shift, bring our guys in at one half the workforce would bring in at 4 a.m, and then they'd work 8 hours, and the other half would come in, and they'd come in at 2 p.m. They work 8 hours. So we were able to maintain all the people, all the subcontractors, and all the workers by splitting shift, and you're spreading people out. Now it had some unintended consequences that we didn't know would happen. All the projects became much more safe. It was amazing. Things happened that people were much more conscious of being safe. We had no near miss injuries. It was absolutely amazing. So we've been able to adopt some of those best practices that we've done, and the safety is gone off the charts. So that's been a very good thing. Talk about all the bad things that happened, but here's some really good things that happened. So that's been very fortunate things that have come on. Some other industries, the restaurant industry, some of the hospitalities have really taking it in the chin, but hope things coming back. So thank you for asking about it, because it's so important for our country to get back going and get going again.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, we're impressed that we have someone of your stature on, and you definitely did. And one of your accolades, you did a reverse merger. So you sold your company and worked for another construction corporation. Why didn't you sit back and, on that easy cash, hopefully, and continue the work that you're doing?
Well, when I sold the company, I was 36, and you're pretty young at that point in time.
Oh, yeah.
And so I thought about, and I had a friend that wanted to go into start another company. And one of our best customers was Beck. And I had become very good friends with some of the folks that worked at Beck. And they were starting a new division called Integrated Services, where you take architecture and construction. Usually there's two separate companies. Architecture and construction are two different trades, so to speak. Merge them together and go forward with that. And they thought that I would be somebody that could start that and do that. And, I wasn't going to have to take my own money and put it at risk. And I saw a great opportunity, and I really liked everybody. And I thought, well, let's try this for a while, see how I like it. And I made partners, so I become an owner of the company. So it became, an owner of a much larger company, $1 billion company, versus an owner of a smaller company. Mm-hmm. And, you just have to kind of look and find your pathway. There's many, many different ways. And we're very, very fortunate. We're privately held. There is a Mr. Beck. There's a Peter Beck, that he's the grandson of the founder of the company. And he really inspires creativity, innovation, entrepreneurship. And he'd give you the shirt off his back, but he also give you the opportunity to go out and say, I've got an idea. Let's go experiment. Let's go try this. And so we have a lot of different things in the company. We have a technology group in the company. We have a prefabrication company where we prefabricate elevators, hospital rooms, and all these were kind of spontaneous from different people in the company. Said, I would like to do this, and he would invest his money, and we'd invest our time and start doing things. So it's a very unique company. I'm very fortunate to be there.
See, that's I love that story, because that in of itself shows the importance of just kind of being innovative and then to be open to other opportunities. You tapped into a way to really build relationships. Sometimes relationships can turn into a nice opportunity, which is great.
Right.
I want to ask you a question, because also, we're in Tampa Bay, plenty of folks that are in MacDill military. How important, as a former military officer where everything was provided to you, they told you where to go, they gave you your house, clothing allowance, regular allowance, they told you when to use the bathroom. How did you learn to make money on your own as an entrepreneur? Because a lot of these soldiers, once they get into the civilian world, similar to like these athletes, when they go from being a professional athlete to becoming a regular person, they don't know what to do. So, could you walk us through your decision process and some tips on that?
Well, you're exactly right. When we're in the government service or you're in the military, a lot of things are taken care of for you. You have a budget, but there's no consequences if you go over budgets. Like you're given fuel and ammunition, you go out and train, and they tell you to use it all up. In fact, they tell you to use it all up by the 30th of September, or you lose it. So I remember going out to the field, and we had all this ammunition, and it was like the 29th of September, and they said, "You better not come back with any. You better shoot it all up." And we were firing. I mean, it was crazy. We were firing illumination rounds in the middle of the daytime, so you didn't need. But if you didn't use it, that meant the next year you weren't going to be able to get that allocation. So it's a completely different mindset. And I was fortunate that when I got out of the Army, I went to work for a construction company for a couple of years, and I learned how to budget, and that there were consequences when you're running a project if you went over budget. And when I started out on my own, when I started my own company, the military teaches you to take care of your soldiers, and if you take great care of your soldiers, they'll take care of you. Mm-hmm. And the same thing applies in the civilian world, and when you're starting a small company. The most important things you have, your most important asset, is your people, and you have to take care of your people. I mean, if it means that you don't get paid and they get paid, that's what you do. And that came directly from the Army, is taking care of your soldiers, making sure that you're the last person in the chow line, making sure that they had the things they needed. They got a chance to sleep before you got a chance to sleep. And you take that same philosophy and you put it in the civilian world, and make sure everybody gets paid, they're taken care of, and they see that you're giving up sacrifices. You're not driving around in the best car in the entire world, and the other guys, you're having to, lay people off. You make sacrifices. And I think that if you look at professional athletes, they've been coddled for a long time because they're good. They have a great talent on it. And then suddenly the switch turns off when they retire, and they've never had to take care of somebody else. In some cases, they've had to take care of families, which is they've learned, and that's where you learn a lot of things. But so much is taking care of somebody else, and you take that same philosophy into the business world, because in many, many cases, if you look at the balance sheet, you don't have people on the balance sheet. The people are on the income statement.
That's right.
It's called salaries and benefits, and that's what you look at, and that's your biggest asset. You got to take care of that number one.
Ooh, I love that. He broke it down to the balance sheet and the income statement. That's what I'm talking about.
Hey, we're at that point where we got to take that break. We're literally on the verge of it. So what do you say that we set Mark up for just a quick break, and then we come back? So when we come back, we're going to be asking questions around an important topic about highs and lows in careers, and making it to another level. So we'll be setting it up. So take us out, Joel.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I love it. Yeah, thank you for the transition, Mr. Kevin Carr, Mr. Career crossover in the house. Once again, this is Power Moves, where celebrities, athletes, key influential executives share how they make money, how they attract power, and how they earn respect. We'll be back with Mark House from Beck Construction here in the local Tampa Bay after the break, after we pay some bills. Go ahead, take us out, DJ Anna.
We're playing your favorite old school. Today's R&B. With a smooth touch touch of jazz. You're listening to In Touch Radio.
By now, we're all aware of the dangers of COVID-19. Like others with existing health issues, cancer patients are at a high risk due to their compromised condition. If you are newly diagnosed with cancer, your care likely can't wait. Moffitt Cancer Center is the best place for your cancer concerns and to provide guidance to help you plan your next steps. We're here for you. Call 1-888-456-2839 or go to moffitt.org/here-for-you.
We are back. This is Power Moves on In Touch Radio, reality radio, where everyone is a star. Kevin, bring us back into the fold with your question for Mr. House.
Mark, we totally understand the success that you've had did not come without some challenges. Did you ever have, I would say, a low point or low points or even low income points in your career? And how did your military training or upbringing give you the fortitude to keep going, to rise above, and to get to, that respectable level of success that you have achieved now?
Well, I don't think that anybody that's been successful in their career has gone without having some down times. I certainly haven't met or read about anybody that didn't have at some point in time. I mean, even Michael Jordan, he got cut from his. Was he a sophomore in basketball team, and then that just inspired him to work that much harder. There were several times when financially it got tight. I remember when I was running my small construction and floor covering company, people didn't pay you on time. It was such that they didn't, and you would just sweat when the mail would be delivered. This was before cell phones, but we still had email and everything. But you would just sweat that you'd call somebody. They said, "Oh, we mailed the check. It should be there today," and you just wait, and it'd be a $10,000, $20,000 check, and you'd written checks to pay your suppliers based upon somebody telling you that they had sent you a check. And there were some times when it got really tight there. Another time was, back in 2009, 2010, when we call it the Great Recession, and it hit Florida really, really hard. We talk about unemployment being 14, 15%. Now, when the top of COVID, it was at 14.5% in Tampa, Florida in 2010.
Yeah.
And in our business, the architecture, construction, engineering business, it was 40%.
Wow.
It was awful. And we had one project we were chasing that we really needed. It was a medical research simulation center in downtown Tampa, and we thought we put everything on the table, and we didn't get it. We were second. And they called and talked to me and said, "You guys really did good. You had everything, but there was somebody that did just a little bit better. They had more experience. They had done one of these facilities prior to that. But hang in there because we got more work coming." And instead of being sullen and telling the owner and said, you made the wrong decision, I said, well, we'll just be there whenever you need us. We appreciate the opportunity. And a month later, they called, and the company that they had chosen had fallen down. Mm-hmm. And they said, "We'd like to talk to you about re-engaging in this." And it was how we lost is how we got that. Is we lost with dignity and grace, and said, here, and came back, and that really turned everything around. It happened right in the middle of the recession. I remember the date we broke ground on it was 1/11/11. It was it was at the 11th of January 2011, and I remember that, and I'll always remember that date. We broke ground on that, and it made the difference. It's why Florida's here today, for sure. I think we could have packed it in had we not done it. But you're going to go through ups and downs, and you can't show your people that work for you that you're down. You have always got to be up. They're going to be down, and you have got to be the one that's the leader, and you got to show inspiration and say, you know what, that's okay. We missed that shot, or we didn't get that, but we're going to do okay. We're going to make this next one because we can do it, and we're the best people out there. You have to inspire, whether they're the best or not. You've got to convince them that they are the best, and make sure that they understand that, and you have faith and confidence in them.
All right,
Yeah,
that's what it's all about. Service is synonymous with you, Mark. As you guys heard me spit out all the different boards that you're on. Why is it important, and how does that help with networking on boards and develops your presence and your power within the community?
I was very fortunate the opportunity to go to West Point, and the country paid for me to go to school and gave me a great education. And serving in the military is one thing, but then also serving, you get a chance to see around the country and around the world of how good we have it in the United States, and what we owe the country to give back to them. I think we take it for granted so many things that we're here. You don't see anybody migrating or standing on the border to go into Cuba or to go into Colombia or to go into Russia. They all want to come to the United States.
Right.
Nobody wants to go somewhere else. They all want to come to the United States. And we're our own worst critics, and we got a lot to improve on. There's a lot of things we got to work on, but you got to look at giving back, and if people have a chance of getting back. So boards are an opportunity. Boards, non-for-profit boards, people are looking for people. They're looking for money, number one, but they're looking for people to help give them some guidance. In a lot of cases, we couldn't give them money, especially during the recession. But I said, tell you what, I can give you my time, and I can give you my people's time. They're very experienced. They can manage projects. We can donate our time, and in many cases, that helped us a tremendous amount. We donated the Lowry Park Zoo. They needed to get reaccreditation. They needed to have new facilities, new boardwalk built. They couldn't afford to hire us to do this, but what we would do is we'd say, here's our superintendents. If you just reimburse us the cost of their salaries, we'll make no profit on this. We'll give you all our folks. We'll go to Home Depot, we'll go to Lowe's, and we'll ask for donations of material. And so the Lowry Park Zoo got a lot out of the work that we did. We kept our people because they were employed during a tough time in the economy, and then they got reaccredited for their for the American Zoological Association. So doing creative things like that, and people remember that. And so when it comes time, those people on those boards, they're on the selection committee when we get selected to do the Dolly Museum. Those people know us because of the things we do. And they say, Jesus, we can have people like that work on our job. That's really what we want. So there's one, you're giving back, but two, there's another method to the madness there of saying you want to meet some people that are decision makers, and they're not on just one board, they're on several boards. And so they'll make a decision, and usually they'll tip the scale in your favor.
See, that's a big power move, guys. I hope you heard that. That. Hey, let's go into the respect segment because we got like 6 minutes left. Kev, why don't you jump in and onto your question?
Yeah, well, I got one as a comrade, fellow former HR lead. I wanted to see if you could give a little context because I think everybody's having to lead a little bit differently. And Joe, I'll let you in that respect one, but I wanted to ask the importance of growing people, developing future leaders. What do you think is needed? There's this concept that I've been reading about saying, what do you need? What do I need from you? And what do we need in order to be better? What would you say that, in terms of growing people, what do you as a leader say in terms of the people you work with? What do you need from me to help you? What do I need from you to help you? And then what do we need to do together?
Ooh, that's a powerful question right there, boy.
Kevin, you almost answered the question when you asked. I mean, that was very insightful because you talk about getting in somebody's head and understanding. You can ask them the question what they need. And sometimes they understand. They sometimes understand what they need. Sometimes they don't understand what they need. As a leader, you've got to recognize what their needs are. You've got to be able to give people feedback, honest feedback. Here's here's what you really do well, and here's things you need to work on, and here's the things that we're going to do to help you on that, and communicate with them. And the things that I'm the most proud of is there are people within our organization, in the Florida organization, that the fellow that took my place, Ryan Toth, came to work as a young intern out of University of South Florida 20 years ago, and now he's running the Tampa, Florida office. He took my place, and he has been somebody that's been an inspiration to me, because, you know, watching him grow up and helping him grow up. And we have another young man that's now the chief operating officer of the company, Ben Bard, and he and Ryan grew up together. You know, I call them young men, but they're, you know, 45 years old. They're leaders of the company. And my job is to help those guys. And if you're a true leader, you know when you got to hand over the baton. They're ready, and they're better than me. And you got to recognize that they are better than me. And how can I help them, and be humble enough to say, hey, I'm giving you the baton, and I'm the right guard. You're the quarterback. And we're going to go in the huddle, and we're going to run around the right end, and you're going to get 5 yards. We'll come back to the huddle and talk about it. But I'm going to block for you. I'm going to keep the administration BS off your back. I'm going to give you guidance, and you're going to be the guy that's going to score a touchdown. And when you get in the end zone, you don't misbehave. And that's what we talk about. So those guys I'm so proud of, and you know, that for me is feedback saying, no, that's your guys that you helped work on. Now they are the guys that are the leaders of the company, and it's tremendously satisfying.
Wow.
That's true leadership development. That's key. If you're going to be running your own business, you got to be building leaders, because it makes your life so much easier.
You got to find guys. You got to find guys that are better than you are.
That's right.
You got to understand that and help them. And Kevin, to your point, is to give them what they need. If you can feed them what they need, they'll turn it on. They'll turn it on.
Wow.
All right, so I'm gonna give you an HR challenge real quick, Mark, because we got 3 minutes left. You know, this episode is sponsored by the Smile Experiment, serving single mothers and living elegantly. And what lesson can you teach a young woman who's a single mother on how to receive respect in the workforce? This is our respect segment, even when they know the job is not treating them well.
You know, I think they can't. When I was at West Point, you have something called no excuse. You had three responses: yes sir, no sir, or no excuse, or yes ma'am, no ma'am, or no excuse. I think people respect and understand a person's situation, and when they don't have any excuses and they stand up and say, you know, despite the situation I'm in, I'm not offering any excuses. I'm just performing to the best of my ability. And look at that, because people look for that, and they look for how they can perform on that basis.
Oh, I love that. I love that. No excuses.
None.
We're not trying to hear that.
No excuses.
That's a military soldier for you too.
Yes.
West Point.
Mark, the back office is downtown Tampa, right off the water, right? Am I correct? I think I've seen it.
That's right. We're right in what's called Tampa Heights. Great restaurant called Eulalie is down there in the corner, and the Tampa Homestead Works. And we've got. We were there when it was just kind of an old rundown area, and fortunately, the last Joel came up when we were in some trailers.
Yeah, that's right.
10, 12 years ago. It was a pretty blighted area, but we made the decision to go in that area because we wanted to give back to the community. We felt like it would be a great opportunity, and in the community, we felt like its community has grown. Metropolitan Ministries is right around the corner. A lot of our folks work and give time to Metropolitan Ministries. The community has really embraced us, and you know, we've got people that work for us that come live in Tampa Heights and come right from there. So. It's been a great experience.
Well,
and now it's the hot spot. You called it, and that's the thing. That's the reason why I wanted to make sure I brought you to the show, because when we met about 12 years ago, you called it. I mean, I saw it coming too, but you were like, "This is going to be the hot spot," and look at you now. It's worked out pretty well.
Excellent.
Once again, thank you, Mark, for joining us, and enjoy your time in Seattle with your kids and your granddaughter. And once again, this is Power Moves, where celebrities, athletes, key influential executives like Mark House over at Beck Construction share how they make money, how they attract power, and how they earn respect. We'll see you next week with my partner in crime, Mr. Kevin Carr, Mr. Career crossover from pro to CEO.
And my partner Joel, man, from Brooklyn's in the house. Thanks, Mark. We appreciate having you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you guys.
DJ Anna.
It's really great. It's really great.
Right.
Thank you, man. Bye now.
All right. Bye-bye. Thank you, DJ Anna. We love you.
If you feel insignificant, you better think again. Better wake up because you're part of something way bigger. You're part of something way bigger. Not just a speck in the universe. Not just some words in the Bible verse. You are the living word. You're part of something way bigger. Bigger than you, bigger than we, bigger than the picture they framed us to